I created 3 sympathy cards with patterned paper, die cuts, and gold embossing powder. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Thank you so very much for stopping by and watching. I am using Brutus Monroe's Winter Wings paper. You guys, this paper is so beautiful, and I think this is from a part of a collection, Letters to Heaven or Letters from Heaven, something like that. And so, being that my sweet daughter is in heaven, I just thought, you know, I need to make some sympathy cards, and this just really spoke to me. I'm going to be using Honeybee Stamps Lovely Layer Winter Birds, which has a cardinal in it. So I'm going to use 3 of these papers. I'm going to cover up some of the birds that I have. And so, yeah, we're going to create this. I am using some opaque crackle paste, but this did not work, you guys. This paper isn't like super glossy at all. I mean, it's glossy, but not super glossy. I did not think this was going to be a problem, but I'm showing you this because it's so pretty, and I did it on all 3 cards, but it does not stay on. It just was crumbling off later. So I don't know if it was the crackle paste with this or if I could use a different paste, but yeah, kind of a bummer. So anyways, now I'm using Honeybee Stamps Lovely Layers Oak Branch. I ink blended that in Walnut Stain, and then I'm using old paper. I'm kind of taking, well, not kind of, I am taking my color scheme from that gorgeous patterned paper. I did trim down my patterned paper pieces to an A2 size. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of going off of those colors. I'm going to layer this branch. I have 3 of these for the 3 cards, so just 1 each. And I'm going to be doing some spritzing here. I used Distress Oxide Spray in, what color did I use? I'm so sorry. Oh, Rustic Wilderness. And also in Ground Espresso. Just a little spritz of that on the background. And I'm going to put that aside to dry. Then I have my cardinal I die cut from Chili Pepper cardstock from Lawn Fawn. I'm taking a little bit of aged mahogany Distress Oxide ink and my little blender tool and adding a little bit of color so it has a little bit of dimension. And then I can layer these pieces together. These are super easy to layer. You have 3 body pieces. You have the piece around his beak and his eye. You have his feet, his beak, and then there is a piece for the eye that is the eye. I did not use that. I'm just going to use a white gel pen to fill in that little area. So he goes together really super quick, really super easy. And then of course I have 3 of these because I have my 3 cards that I'm going to be using, and I'm just using my Pick Pro tool from scrapbook.com to get things in place. And then here is that white gel pen for the eye. Then I'm in my 3D embossing folder. This is from Honeybee Stamps. This is the Wood Planks 3D folder. I have die cut some ovals of different sizes using the Sweet Stacks ovals from Honeybee Stamps. And I just wanted these to have wood. Some of the paper looks like it's wood, and so I kind of wanted to bring that theme into it. Then I'm going to take Antique Linen Distress Oxide ink and ink blend this. Now, I do a lot to these because once I had this ink blended, it was a little dark for me. So then I did something else, and then I had an accident, which was a really good accident. It was kind of like a, yeah, it was such a positive thing that it turned out. So I'm glad it happened. So I've got those ink blended. Then I'm going to bring in Vintage Photo and just lightly go across, going with the wood grain, just catching some of those raised areas, because this embossing folder, that wood is so pretty, you guys. I love it. And I'm going to do a little bit of that Vintage Photo to all of the leaves here, just to bring in some of that color. But then we're going to kind of dull everything down, because again, I want it to have more of the feel from this patterned paper. And so when I put those ovals on the patterned paper, they just stuck out like a sore thumb, I thought. So then I grabbed Pumice Stone Distress Oxide ink, and I am going over it fairly heavy, and it lightens it up so nicely. And then my happy accident, as Bob Ross would say, happened here in a minute when I used the Distress Oxide spray in Picket Fence. Yeah, it was interesting. So I'm using the pumice stone on the leaves as well, and it's softening everything, and I really am happy with how that turned out. Everything was just a little bit too dark. Okay, so I'm spritzing. This spritzing is going great with the picket fence. And then when I go to do my third one, I don't know what happened to the sprayer, but it started spraying weird. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I took my little craft rag here and blotted it out, and it kind of colored everything. You still can see the pumice stone and the brown through there. So I'm going to come in and do it with the rest of them. I was cleaning off the nozzle. It just was acting funny, but I really am happy with how it turned out. So I'm just kind of dabbing it to get the excess off. And then I'm going to open up the picket fence distress spray and then just get bigger white splatters on the background and then set that aside to dry. But it turned out so great. I'm so happy with it. It softened it in such a great way. But again, you could still see those other inks underneath it, which I was happy with. So I just decided to spritz the branches, and that worked out great too. So it was a happy accident. Thank you, Bob Ross, for that statement. In my Misty, I've got sentiments from Honeybee Stamps Best of Everything and Inside Sentiments Comfort. Because remember, these are sympathy cards. I don't ever really have any of these in my stash, and you just need to, because you never know. So I'm going to ink those up with Versamark ink. I'm sprinkling on gold embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat that until it's shiny. And one of those, that bigger sentiment, I actually stamp and heat emboss that 2 more times, but I just did it off camera because it's the same sentiment. And it says praying for you every day. That is from the Best of Everything stamp set. I'm using the coordinating dies to die cut that out, and I'm using my 1/4 inch mint tape. It's a new size. I love this size for my die cuts, like my die cut sentiments. This is a perfect size for that. Super excited. Then I have my 3mm foam adhesive, and see how that background already has a bird on it. I'm going to cover it up because I want to put my own bird. And I'm so bummed that that crackle paste came off. That stencil was from Lawn Fawn. It's the snowflake background stencil. So I took pictures with the snowflakes on. I'm just going to have to like gently rub it off because it just came off so easy. I was so sad about it. I'm like, why do I keep getting flakes on my desk? That would be why, because it kept coming off. So anyways, I am just getting my layout correct here. I am going to tuck all of the birds behind my branches. I'm going to loosen up their feet a little bit so the feet will sit over on the branch. It'll just feel a little more like the bird's not floating in the air. And then getting that branch and bird in the right area so that way I can place my sentiment down. This one says, praying for you every day. Sometimes there are just no words. I am going to add, I think this one is 2mm foam adhesive behind the bird, a little bit on that tree branch. And I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue as well, just to get a good extra hold because I've done so much inking on the background. And then I'm going to trim that excess off, and then I can do my sentiments. I used 1mm foam adhesive here, and I'm using my new titanium scissors. I showed them in my haul from scrapbook.com, and they cut that foam adhesive so nice, and it literally does not stick to your scissors. It is the best thing ever. I love it. Let's work on our next card. Again, that 3mm foam adhesive behind because I do want all my little ovals to be popped up. I'm going to cover up that little bird. I am turning this oval horizontal because I can put my sentiments up at the top, and then my cardinal can sit right in the center. So they all have a little bit different of a layout, different sized ovals and a different background, even though they all obviously have the same theme in mind for the card. I am not one that likes to do mass producing unless I'm doing them a little bit differently like these cards. Then I can handle it. Tucking his feet behind that, adding some foam adhesive. I think this one I did 1mm foam adhesive on him. And then the sentiments will have 2mm foam adhesive. And I can just place him right there in the center, and then I'll just trim the excess off of the sides there. And look at how cute that is. we do have some finishing touches, or a finishing touch, when all of this gets put together, so definitely hang out for that. Let's get this last card put together. I thought I was going to have that branch go across the whole card, but I decided to shorten it a little bit because I couldn't find a good spot for the cardinal to sit that didn't look like he was like floating in the air. So I was able to kind of figure that out. Loosening up his feet, he's kind of sitting in that little nook between the two branches, and then adding some foam adhesive behind him, putting him in place, and then these sentiments will be top and bottom. I love that. I loved this background a lot. I thought it was really, really pretty. I just love the pop of red with kind of these other muted colors. I thought just was very striking when I saw this paper. So, so pretty. See, it's just crumbling off of there. I'm so sad. I'm so sad about it, because I just thought it turned out so pretty. Okay, my final touch. These are adhered to a white A2 size card base. I am using Red Berry Nouveau Crystal Drops to add some little berries to the branches. It needed, as you can see, it needed a little bit more red on the branches themselves. It was a little too dead to me. So adding that, I just really feel like totally finished off this card beautifully. So I'm just adding little clusters on each one of these cards, and then we can take a look at this up closely and see how pretty these turned out. Look at how pretty this is. I love that. It's kind of a bummer sometimes that you have to have cards like this, but at least they can be meaningful and very pretty, and it would definitely lift somebody's spirits receiving one of these. But I loved the die cuts. That pattern paper is just so very pretty. I think these turned out very, very nice. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing, liking, thumbsing up, sharing. I appreciate all of that, and I hope you guys have a really awesome day. Bye.